Economic Ninja here. The trigger has been pulled. I have two stories that I want to go over. Either of these stories could cause a lot of disruptions in the American economy and honestly worldwide economies, but they're very different stories. The first story we're going to be going over is what is going on in Iran. Iran announcing now to immediately launch ballistic missiles on Israel. As that war intensifies, as Israel moves into Lebanon, now with ground forces. And then the next story is the official start of the U.S. port strike in the East Coast. We're going to talk about both of those. But I want you to understand, as we start these videos or start going through these stories, everything that is happening around the world, things are getting bleak. They look bleak. They're getting bad. There are so many opportunities to be made and to take advantage of during hard times. So become one of the type of people that says, you know what? No matter what happens in the world, I will choose to succeed. I will seek out good information. I will seek out great opportunities, and I will expand upon them and do something about it. Excuse me. First story out of Zero Hedge. Iran announces bigger Iran ballistic missile attack on Israel expected. U.S. to assist in defense. It says there have been constant official leaks and rumors speculating over what's said to be an imminent Iranian response to the Friday killing of Hezbollah chief Nassan Nasrallah by Israel airstrikes last Friday. Senior White House and defense officials say a major ballistic missile attack on Israel could come in the next 12 hours and that military and government sites are expected to be targeted, while the White House is citing intelligence which shows Iran is preparing. An unnamed U.S. official has also said to Reuters that a supposedly imminent missile attack on Israel by Iran could be as big or bigger than one that it carried out in April. Now, I want you to understand that this war in Israel is getting so large because we have multiple countries attacking Israel as Israel is moving to defend itself and is moving into different countries. This is big. It is causing division amongst countries. Geopolitical risks, I believe, have never been higher since at least the Vietnam War, if not before that. We are seeing more and more strain on the economy. And it is interesting that this is ramping up at a time when a lot of us understand that we are already in a recession in America, that countries like China's economy are utterly collapsing, and it's them bringing us to war during that time. Now, again, I have to stress the opportunities that are coming. Now, again, one of the opportunities is that we get to see the truth on different channels, different social media sites that will, some broadcast the truth, some hide the truth, right? I also see opportunities where we are seeing correction in markets and we can start taking advantage of starting our own businesses, becoming wealthier, because this is what governments fear. Governments fear their middle class becoming wealthier and stronger and needing them less and less, more than they fear going to war with another country. I honestly believe that. Type 1 if you agree with that. Now, moving away from the Iranian attacks that the White House is saying is going to happen, we're going to move to the port strike. Now, it is officially begun. As of midnight last night, the port strike has begun. It says the first shutdown in 50 years sparks fears of supply chain crisis. So I will say, honestly, if you don't have a few months supply of food and a few months supply of even things like toilet paper, go and get them. Why not? And if nothing happens, guess what? You've just beat inflation, because the official inflation numbers, they're lying to you because they keep, and they say it right there in the fine print, we're excluding food out of that inflation number, because if food was in the inflation number, it would show that inflation is still red hot. All right. So think about right now going every month that food prices keep going up, my dollar is losing power to food. So think about that. Go and get a little bit of food. All right. It's not being some crazy conspiracy theorist, although I seem to have been a crazy conspiracy theorist 3.5 years ago when I started this channel. I said, get ready. There's a wave of inflation about to hit the nation. And there were some people that thought I was nuts. Now, not so much. It says here, more than 45,000 International Longshoremen Association members from over 36 facilities across 14 Gulf and East Coast ports went on strike early Tuesday, making the largest labor action at the U.S. ports in nearly 50 years. The labor action, driven by disputes over automation and wages in a new multi-year labor contract, threatens to disrupt supply chains nationwide. Now let's back up and talk about this automation. You see, a lot of groups are fighting automation because they don't want to see their jobs taken. And the other day I did a video about preparedness and how most people just have zero clue what's going on in the world. They are not prepared, and then they panic. And then they're standing in line for 3 hours trying to get one thing of toilet paper. Why are they standing in line for 3 hours? Because that toilet paper was $5 cheaper than the toilet paper down the street. And I'm sitting there laughing at them, and it ruffled some feathers because I'm like, here they weren't prepared, and now they're wasting their time to save $5 when they could be taking advantage of this situation and making hundreds, if not thousands of dollars. So let me paraphrase or sum this up. There are labor groups that are going, we don't want the automation. And I saw comments the other day saying, you're really coming down on people that don't have a choice. People that, like, let's say, we're not supposed to ask for more money from our supervisors, like people at Walmart. I saw multiple comments about Walmart employees in the last video I did a couple, like yesterday. And they said they can't survive. They don't make enough to live. And you know what my answer to them was? Go get another job. As a full-time firefighter for many years, well over a decade, I did not get a single raise after the Great Recession. As a matter of fact, the whole Department of Defense, the DoD, didn't get a single raise for over a decade after as well. So think about that. As inflation was kicking up, you didn't get any wage hikes. You didn't see anybody whining and crying. They still went to work. I myself started side businesses, side hustles, and my side hustles, some of them were making well over per year what I made as a full-time firefighter. I had to make a choice. Well, that's called the free market. You see, if everyone at Walmart was upset, because think about it, robots are taking over jobs at Walmart. You not only have robot checkout stands, you've got robots actually walking up and down for security. There's even some that are robots walking around cleaning the floors. So jobs are being taken so fast. Well, if everybody at Walmart decided, you know what, the heck with this, we're going to go and apply at Target, or we're going to go apply in a different field, and they didn't have any employees, you know what Walmart would do? They'd offer more money. It's called the free market. But the thing is, the free market ain't free because it takes hard decisions and hard work. And if you want to be wealthy, and it's funny because our government right now wants to push this class, they want to push race wars. They also want to push class wars. That's how they got all of us convinced that you need to pay income tax. Because in the early 1900s, they said, don't worry, we're going to do this new thing. It's like around 1910, 1913, I don't remember the date. It's called income tax. But don't worry, it's not for you. It's for the rich. And if you've been paying attention to the current presidential candidate that's saying, I'm going to tax people on unrealized gains, but don't worry, it's not for you. It's for the rich. Well, you know what? You're all about to get caught in that little thing, because if you haven't paid attention, if you have a swimming pool or if you have a boat, pretty much almost any boat now qualifies for a luxury tax because you're rich. You see, that's how it works. So these labor unions want to fight automation, but at the same time, these dock workers, they want almost twice as much pay. Think about that for a second. Put down below, everyone probably knows the percentage that they want. Put it down below what they're asking for as we read this. Now, if the strike persists for more than a week, retailers could face shortages of certain goods, potentially sparking another wave of inflation. Hey, let me throw a shout out too. If you like actual truth, honesty, and a little bit of, hold your feet to the fire, it's time to get some action going. If you want to be wealthy, it's on you, but I'll show you how to do it. Hit the subscribe button, because I'm telling you right now, the men are being separated from the babies in this world. The men usually vote and act a certain way and work a certain way. The babies just vote a certain way and cry all the time. Sort of like liberals. All right, here we go. ILA strike hit 36 ports across the Gulf Coast and up and down the East Coast. This is the union's first labor action since 1977. Workers walked off the job at the Port of Philadelphia a few minutes after midnight when ILA and the U.S. Maritime Alliance, a coalition of port operators and carriers, failed to agree on a new labor contract that would have boosted wages by 50% over 6 years and pledged to place limitations on port automation. So they actually want to slow down the automation because they understand this, or stop it because they know that automation is going to be, what is it called? It's going to take jobs. The union has demanded so wait, hold on. Let me show you this. The contract offer that would have boosted wages by 50% over 6 years and pledged to place limitations on automation, the union has demanded a 77% pay bump. So 50% over that years isn't enough. And the companies said, hey, we won't work on the automation. We won't take jobs away. We're going to give you 50% pay wage. They're like, no, we want 77%. As a matter of fact, there was another union dispute that's going on right now. I'm completely blanking out on what company it is. Let me know down below, where they turned down the highest offer of pay increase. It was a staggering number too. It was over 60% over the next few years. They turned it down. They want more. And I've been on the edge saying unions don't understand that they may get it. The companies may capitulate and give it to you, and then they're going to lay people off like crazy. And what's funny is I'll bet you this ends up where the ports go, you know what, we'll give you your 77%, but before, when we were saying that we're going to place limitations on port automation, we just want to take that off the table. And the union bosses are all like, yeah, give us our money. And then they're not going to realize what just happened. And within days after this thing is settled, they're going to start automating and they're going to start laying off people within 90 to 120 days. Mark my words, watch this. Type 10 if you agree with that. It says on Tuesday, ILA said USMX's latest offer was rejected because it fell short of what ILA rank and file members are demanding in wages and protections against automation. I think the wages are worth more. Both sides have been locked in talks since June. They said, we are prepared to fight as long as necessary to stay out on strike for whatever period of time it takes to get the wages and protections against automation our ILA members deserve. Union boss Harold Daggett said in a statement, hey, Harold, just curious, if you get this extra money and then later they all start laying people off, are you going to get laid off? I'm just curious if your job's at risk. Just throwing out that question. Everybody answer that down below. All right, so super exciting to fight for more money, but you don't realize it's actually the government doing this to you, spending out of control money on wars that we're not a part of and shouldn't be a part of, and they are blowing money on bringing immigrants illegally into our country. Our government is actually breaking the law. Weird, but they do it all the time. And they're taking our tax money and doing it. And that's what's causing inflation because they keep borrowing more, they're running into deficits, and that's just the truth. Look, there's never been a better time to start your own business. What is it, 80% of the Russell, I don't remember which stat it is. It's one of these big indexes. 80% of the companies in one of these massive indexes started from recessions because recession battle-proofs companies, and companies actually can take advantage of a larger hiring pool because the unemployment goes up, lower prices because deflation happens, and opportunities when most people are losing their mind. So the fact is, if you believe we're in a recession, this is the best time in the world to start a business and start small and start with cash and watch it grow. I made more money during the Great Recession starting side hustles than I had ever made before, and then a little bit after, and then it took off after that. If you want to plan on how to start a side hustle or a business, a legitimate business or LLC, I'll put a sales link down below to my course. I've had a lot of side hustles, over 21 of them. I know it sounds crazy, but I keep moving, and I've been asked this question before, why can't you stick with one? It's because one gets limited out on how much I can make, and I take that money, and it goes to the next one, and the next one, and you go, before you know it, you're starting at a garage sale. Before you know it, you're bringing in millions a year in income. I know it sounds crazy, but it is true. That's how it works. It's called scaling, or it's called pivoting, whichever way you want to look at it, depending on what business you're in. Hope you got something out of this. The Economic Ninja is out.